Hello and welcome back to Frogboy X1 Gaming. I'm Andrew and today I'm going to do my best to review Starfield for you. So first of all, I want to ask you to hit that like and subscribe button. I also want to let you know that I have a second channel now, Mr. and Mrs. Frog Product Reviews, where we review other types of products that are not pertaining to just video games, but there will be tech involved in that. There's a link in the description for that channel. I would greatly appreciate it if you would hit that like and subscribe on that channel as well. So, first of all, I want to go ahead and talk about what Starfield means to me as a video game. As somebody that really enjoys open world games, Starfield is absolutely incredible for me. Now, I want to start off by kind of talking about that just a little bit. World exploration, when it comes to Starfield, is absolutely incredible. Now, I thought at first I was going to have a little bit of a problem with that due to the fact that I couldn't just explore the whole world, but the spaces that they give you are absolutely huge on these planets. I have checked out a couple of them. I spent 4 hours on one of them, just running to everything, checking out all the landmarks, everything on there, trying to log everything in there and get as much experience in that open environment as I possibly could, and it was absolutely perfect. More than enough for me to run around and explore, and with as many planets that are in Starfield, absolutely incredible. When it comes to the different environments, vegetation, how these planets are set up, very realistic, very believable. I think maybe there was a couple of vegetated planets that looked a little bit wonky to me, but overall, very cool. When it comes to like when you land on a snow planet and it's freaking just a blizzard, absolutely incredible. It looks cool. I was very happy with the overall aesthetic of most of these planets. Of most of these planets that I've explored, very well put together, very good looking game. I'm really enjoying exploring. That is probably going to be the bulk of my gameplay in Starfield going forward. Now that I've completed the main campaign, I think the rest of my play in Starfield will be completing like the faction missions and exploring the vast open world that Starfield has on offer. Now I want to move over to story content for this game. The story is really easy to follow. Some people are probably going to be like, "Oh man, I saw that coming a mile away." It's a pretty good story. Like I had a really good time with it. The character interaction throughout the story, being able to choose which characters are going to come with you, which ones are going to be part of your team, how that's going to turn out. Very cool. There's a lot of squad dynamic. Well, not squad dynamics, but character building on each individual character. You are free to engage with them as much as you want, as little as you want. You can build strong relationships with them. You can have you could kind of ignore half of the crew like I did. I didn't ignore half of them. Just some of them I was just like, yeah, I didn't really care to talk to them that much. But overall, the overall story starts to pick up around the 10-hour mark. Like it starts to really pick up, and then just kind of you just find yourself really immersed in the overall story. Like at first it kind of starts off a little bit slow. I don't know if this is going to be a spoiler for you or not, but like you're exploring, you're going out and you're looking for things, and you're trying to find like these things in the overall story to like bring this thing together, and you're trying to get some understanding of this in this vast galaxy. So I mean, at first, if you're not like into exploring things, like that might rub you a little bit the wrong way, but overall, like it's not boring exploration, because you'll go to like this one place, and then like you'll have a faction that you can meet, and you can like go on this like completely other different tangent and do all these side missions and the side quests, and these side quests I did complete one. I did complete the Crimson Fleet one, That was about 3 hours long, maybe even a little bit more. Like it was pretty long. Like it felt like a pretty good chunk. Like you'd be like, oh wow, that was pretty cool, and it felt like like I was playing like a completely different thing. You know, like you're on the one mission, then you go on to this, and like it's completely different from what you're doing over here. So and it all ties in. So that felt good. Like I'm really appreciating the story. I appreciate how the story turned out. Like that was pretty cool. I absolutely love that. When it comes to shipbuilding, and some of the other mechanics in Starfield can feel a little bit not intimidating, but a little bit like confusing at first. You'll be sitting there, and I was in the. It took me almost to the very end of at least to the end of the Crimson Fleet thing, how to figure out how to upgrade my ship and how to put different things on there, because you'll have these things in a point in the mission that you've got to apply to your ship, and like trying to do it like buying and upgrade and all of that kind of stuff just wasn't working. And I was in this like shipbuilder menu thing, and it wasn't until I moved the crosshairs up away from the ship, like if your crosshairs are on the ship, then it won't show up these other sub menus. But once you move it away, there's like a way to add things to it. And so that there, like, wow, it's just some things like that might be a little bit confusing. So I would tell you to look out for that kind of stuff, and don't get too frustrated. If you need to look up a video on YouTube how to do something, definitely find a way to do that, because like that, I'm one of those kind of gamers that like I'll just play through a game and I'll just go through the motions sometimes, and I'll go through like the gameplay, and I'll just be having fun, and I'll be so immersed in that when something like that comes out that I can't figure out right then or there and then, I just kind of move forward and don't think about it too much. Because when I was like, well, especially if there's like no reason to figure it out, like when you're in there and you're like, yeah, man, I guess I could upgrade my ship, and like I'll just be like, all right, cool, whatever, and then I'll move out of the, like if I can't figure it out or can't figure out how to do something, if it's not pertaining to a mission, then I'll just move on with it instead of like sitting there trying to figure it out. It's usually when I get into a mission that I have to do something that I'll have to spend that time to figure that out, and then and then it can get a little bit like I don't know. Then I get a little bit frustrated sometimes, but usually once I figure it out, I'm like, oh my gosh, man, that was so easy. So it's one of those things that once I get to that point, then I just then I have to figure it out. Then that's fine. Sometimes I'll actually go through a whole game without even using like certain things, just because the game didn't force me to or something like that, and I do that a lot. So I might not always cover like every single little nook and cranny of a game, but the overall experience that I get out of the game, because I'm pretty much a weekend warrior. I'm pretty much a weekend warrior. When I'm going to work and I'm working during the week, I don't have a whole lot of time to sit and play video games, especially big open world games that I normally like to play. Like I have to sit down on a weekend and really devote time and play that, and I have to kind of weigh what can I really run out and do. And now I've got some extra free time after beating this. I'll be able to spend some more time and just exploring and doing more stuff in Starfield like I want to. But when it comes to like the weekend, I kind of just have to hunker down and get through these games as quick as possible. The last thing I want to talk about in this review is the end game. The end game for Starfield is absolutely massive, and it will just keep going and going and going. There's so much you can do in this game after you've completed the main campaign, and the way that after you beat it, the way that it rolls into New Game Plus is very cool. I like the way they did that. I like the way that they were able to bring you right back in without having to like start just before the last mission or something. Like it just boom, it rolls right over, and like whoa, it's pretty cool. You can jump right back into doing everything like you just did. You can go through the whole story campaign, or you can do something completely different, and that is very cool. I like how they handled that. It definitely is going to add a lot of replay value to Starfield. The last thing that I want to just touch on is like my overall experience with this. Like I found the combat all of that kind of stuff. Like the combat felt pretty good, like the weapons, the running around looking for stuff. I see most of that doesn't even, like the looting and all of that stuff doesn't really even play in a factor in the main campaign until you've actually started endgame. So it's one of those things where like the loot felt pretty good. Like I felt like I was moving up, getting pretty good loot, the upgrading, the class system, all of that stuff, very, very well thought out, very meticulous. Setting up your character and going through like the 5 different sets of the 5 different, you know, subclasses and all that kind of stuff that you can bring to your character and build your character out. Very, very cool. I like that. I have more than enough, you know, different choices of stuff that I could pick and do. So I was very happy with the overall outcome for all of that. The shooting, the gunplay, the combat, all of that feels pretty dang good for a third person game, first person game. Very, very well. The PC and the Xbox version, PC version was absolutely great. Playing it on a 7900 XT with a 5900X, very stable experience. With the Xbox version, definitely cuts that back down to 30 frames per second, but they did not skimp out on the overall visual quality. So I kind of feel like they made the right choice, because if they would have made this game look, if they would have taken away from the overall visual presentation, I don't think it would have been as good or as impactful as it is with the visuals the way they are. So that is very important for you. Maybe somewhere down the road we'll get like the opportunity to have an unlocked FPS mode that we can use VRR for that. That would be awesome, and I would encourage Bethesda to do that and make that available. But as it sits right now, the overall game at 30 frames per second does not feel bad at all. It actually plays very smoothly, feels pretty good, and it's an overall enjoyable experience. Now, the way I feel about Starfield, this game is absolutely a 10 out of 10 for me. The overall game, the overall experience, the overall immersion. I was up till 4 o'clock in the morning last night, and it's been a very long time since I've been able to stay up that late, just so immersed in a game that the time is just flying by. It's been a while, man. I've played a lot of games, but I'm always pretty good about being able to get off at like 10, 11 o'clock. Maybe the most I'd stay up is about midnight, but this one here had me up until 4 in the morning playing this. That's how immersive Starfield is once you get in there and you start learning the systems and you start having fun with it. Ship combat, sorry I didn't put this in there. Very cool, feels great, very fun to play that. I was like the times that you do get caught up in space combat, it was pretty cool. Like it worked, it felt good, it felt impactful, it was very engaging. So the overall, you know, like I was saying, man, like being able to stay up that light and being so immersed in this experience was absolutely incredible for me. I'm very happy with the way Starfield turned out, and I think you're going to enjoy this one. I really do think you guys are going to enjoy this. So if you like this content, don't forget to like and subscribe. I'll see you guys in the next one. Thank you for watching.